Are you there, Lila?
Yes, I'm here. And good
Oh,
evening
hi.
to all you. Good evening to all you folks. I'm Lila with some bedtime stories for y'all. I'll be reading from Book 7, Your Dream Visions by Dwayne Hefner, the great writer. With me is Dean Bell and our guest, Tim von Pinnon from Great Rapids. We'll be discussing the readings, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to join us. All right. The extreme passions of the mind continually cause more problems and phobias, and no eventual real benefit to the person under their own spell of addictions. The public is always marketed with some sort of new gimmick or diet that makes someone a lot of money. So those already proven addictions to something will try anything to rid themselves of their ailments, not realizing it is not usually a physical treatment they need, but one of an in-depth recognition of what is taking place with the various parts of themselves. And so, what can occur is more so of an unreality of dreams in which the unconscious mind, in its frustration to get to the outside world, will play tricks and reveal to the conscious self deadly poisons of negative events, which can bring about unhappiness to the dreamer, which in turn affects their performance with their daily affairs. This is where the unconscious mind will even make failure a virtue to the dreamer, as one accepts a distorted view of what they have experienced. A person's dream arena is a very personal area too, and has remarkable tendencies once properly understood. What is not really known is the fact that others can enter a person's dreams without their knowledge and manipulate situations without the original dreamer even knowing. This is where the real guidance pays off the most, as one is now with the real universal guides, and they have a protection from invaders who are unseen and mainly come from others who project themselves from the earth to the lower astral realms. Those who are of a religious nature will sometimes have dream experiences with their recognized saviors or saints. But many times this can be an entity disguising themselves and playing the role of a looked-up-to ancient figure. The saviors and saints of the past rarely make it past some psychic dreams of the real universe. Even Jesus has to work with the lords of karma for what he did on earth, even though the make-up stories of him are such, many are not so. Again, marketing ploy by the rep systems, sometimes the real facts are about the original church and what it decided to write and what not to write into the Bible. In early history is coming more to light all the time, as there are now TV documentaries being televised supporting such evidence. The rep systems, the world order brats, have been the power center for the unaware to look up to for centuries. But the time is coming when many people will become more aware as a new man is a new wave is better understood. Okay, do you have any comments here?
Yeah, the benefit for singing the new you and allowing the real guides to come into your life. It's one thing is they do protect you on the in the dream state from sources of negativity or attacks, things like that. They're always standing by, so they're watching over everybody. And the other thing is that you have, access to more regions in the real side, because they'll take you places and demonstrate things to you once you allow them into your sphere. So they're the real side, or your dreams, are a wonderful source of knowledge, information, and recognition for each individual. And by allowing the real guides to come in, they can do those two things. They can help to prevent any kind of attack, although a lot of times they do let you, kind of fight it out yourself, but they're watching over you. If you get into real trouble, they're there. And the other thing, they'll take you and demonstrate things to you and take you around on the real side.
Well, the masses have been hypnotized into looking to the past for their answers with their life, and always hoping that the future will be better. The church has continued to predict the return of Jesus for thousands of years, but it hasn't happened, and it really will not. Even if he did return, very few would even recognize him, because the artist's renderings of him are not what he looks like. The web systems have built a lot of emotional drama around their star, whom they destroyed. It almost guaranteed that he will take on the karmic debts of all by a person being doused with a little so-called holy water, which really comes from where? Being unprotected in one's dreams is like one's computer without a virus screen, to where a person can experience a deluge of entities entering their aura and dreams, and even hypnotizing a unsuspecting dreamer. In many cases, what happens is the unaware person is being set up to have another satisfaction through them, such as an addiction to alcohol and drugs. Those who use these two narcotics on a regular basis are asking for trouble. As I mentioned earlier in this book about someone I knew who's experienced nightmares from their addiction. When one sees a person on artificial stimulants, it is only obvious to something unseen is going on. Many times the users will tell of visions that they are seeing, and of others, and even monsters. When LSD was popular, and now it's a thing like meth, there were books written on the aspects of gaining God realization with the use of certain drugs. All of this nonsense is once again marketing ploy to get people's attention and make the marketer of the product a hero for those that are with this worthless knowledge. In the long run, everyone involved goes downhill and their lives become tormented. It is not at all known, but the narcotics and Jim Jones of Jamestown was into the psychic arts and was able to enter his followers' dreams and possess them. Even those close to him did not know this because he had kept certain parts of his life a real secret. Rebazar once showed me the universal files pertaining to him and others like him, and as I watched, just like the movies, I was being shown in a series of experiences showing Jim Jones leaving his body at night and raping some of his women followers and putting hypnotic spells on those beyond and around him so that they would obey his every whim. The same has been happening for centuries with the church, which today is constantly coming out in scandals with the priests. You have any remarks about this?
Tim? Hi, Tim.
Yeah, hi. How important the guidance is in our lives from the real guides and the protection that seems to be that we don't have ourselves in our dream state, and all the deception that has been, I don't know if the word's afflicted on us by others that want to control us, and it's so wonderful that there are real guides, and when we are given the opportunity by them to see if we can be involved with them and have their help too and guidance and get a real education about what's really going on in life. And the drugs and alcohol, yeah, sure. They're so big on earth, the drugs and alcohol. It's there's so much marketing on the TV, well, not for cigarettes in America so much anymore, but the alcohol still seems to be the more mind-altering kind of for the masses still. And then there's the drugs that seem to be affecting more and more people all the time. They're taking all these pills and things, and it's very treasured guidance to learn that there are things that we shouldn't be involved with in our lives. We're just opening ourselves up to these other entities that want to use us to have their experiences that they seem to enjoy or want through us from different realms or places in this psychic realm stuff.
It seems to me, that things are really getting out of hand here. As Jim Jones' life came tumbling down with all the outside pressure, the death wish in him became stronger than the will to live and face the consequences. So along with himself, he persuaded hundreds to destroy themselves. The others would have been fine and returned to their normal life, but his control was insurmountable, and they all gave in except for a few who saw through his illusions. What is not understood at all is the fact that when a person takes their own life, they will be taken away by the angels of death and then return to another body immediately to face what they were running from, because they destroyed the body and they are responsible. The material realm is a learning process that must be completed. It is from here that we learn about ourselves, and then we can enter into the higher realms and eventually the real universes, possibly during this lifetime. This is one of the countless examples of a person using the black arts of the dualistic forces. Here is where people justly justify an evilness to gain something, usually from others, or create outright destruction. A person practicing evil methods eventually learns how to enter a person's dreams and give them post-hypnotic commands. Under the guidance of the real guides, this sort of practice cannot touch the new student unless they are willing to let it happen. Similarities in dreams from one person to another can easily occur. Almost everyone is leaving their body at night, even without their conscious knowledge of it, as they are still gathering experiences in the other worlds. Paul talked about two people who had sent in the same story to an editor with all the same characters and plot. The editor was perplexed, but Paul knew these two had went to the same place in the astral realm and studied the same story, and upon awakening, wrote the same basic idea down and sent it in. Things like this occur in the creative field all the time, especially with all the writers and movie scripts that are being produced today. There is a thought current that encompasses the earth, and as one travels out of their body, they come across this reality and pick up certain impressions, as does a radio receiver pick up the airwaves. So it is nothing odd that many people will wake up with the same idea that has been floating around in space, so to speak.